Okay. Think we're ready. Good. Hi, everyone. So I know everyone has been waiting for this time. And today I will deal with the CVs, and that's NHS versus non-NHS CV. And so without wasting time, I know a lot of people have been sending me emails to address this topic. So there are key principles in terms of, the CV design. And I think there's a bit of misconceptions around it. So as we wait for more and more people to come, I'm going to join. I'm going to just eat a little bit of chocolate, you know. Good. We're beginning to get some quorum. So a few things that I think I've noticed. So a few noticeable things that people do in terms of their search that's, just simply wrong. I find that some people do not have, their primary CVs. That was wrong. That was wrong. You have to have your own personal CV. You have to. So that's the first thing. I have a presentation that I've made that's going to address all this CV business. Stay tuned. Share the link to this YouTube live to many other people. Many people need this knowledge so that they can get it right. Also, you are welcome to type your comments and questions on the YouTube live. So, without wasting time, let's, address this. Let's talk about these. Keep sharing the live. Good. It's nice to see you here. Okay, Sandra. I'm just loading the presentation where I will go through all of the essentials. Yes, don't forget, share the links to others that need this so that we begin to deal with these questions once and for all. Good. So presentation is here. So CVs. And in this section, I will deal with a lot of things for us. Yeah. And so when you talk about CVs in Europe, that's curriculum vitae, which comes from French. However, you need to think about what other terms are CVs referred to. That's resume in North America. Now let's look at your NHS CV. Now, why do you need a CV? Is your personal sales brochure. It tells people what you've achieved over the many years. You know that you've been in the professional sphere, even from your student days. Thank you, Hussein Olatayo. Yeah, I'm saying hi back. So let me just say hi to, thanks to yeah, and Hussein for joining in. So that's that. Now, it's a guide. It helps you explore how to get started. Here, I'm going to help you do that. The effective document. It helps you to sell yourself. You know, because it's a selling business. There are a few do's and don'ts, which I need you to take note of. Now, the do's with is it's going to be used as a selection process. I understand a lot of people will tell me, but you know, all the jobs, they track jobs. Not all of the jobs are on track jobs. By the way, some trusts do not use track jobs. Some trusts still recruit via the CV method. The second thing is, if you have someone that is directly interested in you, you know, as a candidate, you must be able to send them your CV. Thirdly, if you also want to make someone interested in you, you must be able to send them your personal CV. Yeah, thank you very much, Ibrahim Arfa. Thanks, you found it useful. So the point is, you must have a CV, yeah, because it's going to be used for various recruitment processes. So do not be deceived by track jobs. Yeah, it's not an excuse. And it's going to be used as the very first step in the recruitment process. With that said, now you need to use it to highlight the career path you are pursuing, the skills you've developed. So your CV must tell a story that says where you are heading to, where you're coming from, and where you are heading to. I'll go to the various types of CV and where you can use it. So therefore, you must have a generic NHS CV. Very important to have a generic NHS CV. Now, you need to keep your CV for roles that are around ST to 2 to 3 pages. And the reason for this is the people recruiting, you see the evidence that they spend any time between 30 to 90 seconds looking to the CV to decide. Now, it should provide topics for discussion. What does that mean? You need to put your CVs to have topics and subtopics. And it needs to aim to meet the essential and at least some of the desirable ones in terms of the job. And of course, any unusual acronyms you must explain. Yeah. So that's the basics of the main parts of the CV. Now, let's continue to the other part. So those are the do's you need to be aware of, you know, in terms of a CV. Now, what are the don'ts? Do not send a CV in the place of an application. I remember I've said to you guys that, the CV has its role. However, if you are dealing with a trust that, or any employer that has an application process in place, then sending your CV, it's not the right thing. Secondly, keep your CVs concise. So I would say, guys, share this, the link with people, to come join the live, ask questions on the live. Now, you don't have to list all of the skills or every experience. You have to tailor it. Now, you don't send a generic CV for every role you are chasing. However, you must tailor the CV that you're sending to a job, but that must be a job that you have the competence that is required and you can demonstrate and evidence them. Now, I did address the question where people, may have this chameleon approach to CV. It's important not to approach things that way. I think I've said that clearly. Do not have a chameleon approach. You need to try and apply to roles where you can demonstrate competencies, and the requirements in the essential as well as the desirable. And I've explained how you do this. There are professions or specialties that go together, and those are probably the ones you need to build your skills and experiences. Do not manufacture something from out of the blue. You will get yourself in trouble. You're unlikely to get hired. If you get hired, eventually, sooner or later, they will find out that you're struggling too much, and they will go back and look at these things, and it's a probity issue with the GMC, as well as, of course, the royal colleges, and everywhere you go, it creates problems for you. Now, don't go overboard with details. Yeah, like I said, you need to make it concise so that anyone looking at your CV is able to read it quickly. Like I said, it's about 60 to 90 seconds that they spend. I don't think I need to overemphasize, do not lie in your CV. It's going to get you in trouble, either during the recruitment process, during your interview, or if you pass the interview, it'll get you in trouble when your skills is tested. You cannot go and put that in your CV that you are a heavyweight boxer, yeah? And then when you come to interview, you adjust your camera so that it looks like a heavyweight. Now, when you get the job of a heavyweight boxer, you now show up to work looking small as Floyd Mayweather. And when they ask you, you say, no, you've lost weight. So that's the point. Do not lie in your CV and do not use inappropriate terminologies. So what is the anatomy of a CV? Nothing fancy. These are just the common parts, topics. Remember, we said your CV has to have some of the essential things that can make it bring discussions. So don't forget, share this link with everyone to come on and get this knowledge so that we can move forward, go into 2025, with more knowledge, energized, and, just getting the information that we need. So personal details, usually it's your name, address, and phone number. Depending, some people put things like their marital status. The marital status does not necessarily change anything in terms of hiring process, and things like certain family details. My preference is, to avoid that, but I understand some people they hold that dearly. I don't think it does any harm, but I think it's superfluous information. Career plans up there in summary is useful because it's pointing to whoever is looking at your CV that there's a direction you'd like to go, and therefore that person is also making those plans and adjustments in that way. So that's in terms of career plans. So if you're looking for a training number, you're looking for a registrar role, Professional registrations is very key because quickly it tells the recruiter that you're the right person, you have the required necessary clearance. So of course, here we're talking about GMC registration. And in terms of professional qualification, of course, is the royal colleges or the colleges in your country that we're talking about here. It also tells the recruiter quickly or the hiring manager that yes, you are among those that should be considered for being selected rather than being neglected. You go down to education. I've seen people make a lot of these mistakes. Please, all those small certificates, you cannot be putting them as education. Please stop putting PLAB 1 and 2 as education. It's a licensure. Education is MBBS, MSc, postgraduate certificate in university. That is equivalent to at least 2 semesters generally, or at least 1 semester that is recognized and awarded as such. So postgraduate diploma, master's degrees, PhD, that's what would fall under education. Every other thing falls under certificate and CPD. Please don't be putting this so that people somewhere will not think, you've not been told the right thing. Of course, work history. The other mistake people make here is try and tally your work history, at least if you're coming to the UK side of things or Europe. Let it be, from down, foundation doctor. And in the UK, foundation is generally 2 to 3. So it's F1, F2. So if you are using Nigeria for an example, F1 is our regular house job. F2 is NYSC. Now, F2 technically is SHO. Because you have become a senior, you've done the work more than 1 year. Now, in some places, you can have F3, which is an SHO. Then in the SHO group, you have F2, F3, you have CT1, CT2, or you have ST1, ST2. All of this bunched together is SHO. So if you've done, medical officer, casualty officer, whatever you've done, you get me. Generally, when you are still medical officer, is SHO. Now, when you become senior medical officer or a reg proper, I think in your second year of residency, that's ST3. So that's registrar. So I think that's what to know. Of course, CPD additional training. Then the research you've been involved in. Research means publishable research generally, or things like your, the research you do for part 2. Preferable when you publish them, they carry more weight. And when it's been published generally in PubMed. Audit and quality improvement projects are different, I must say this, from research. And they are different from service evaluation. So when you do things like there's not enough oxygen in theater regularly, there's no water, all of those things, that's not an audit. An audit, please look it up, understand the basis of an audit and what you're comparing with and the cycle of audits. Then, of course, you go to your presentations that you presented locally and internationally. And then practical skills, of course, would vary from profession to profession. So in O&G, it'll be a bit different. In surgery, it will be different. In medicine, it will be different. I don't need to list all of these. Practical skills that you've gained, it needs to be logged in somewhere that is easy and that is easily recognizable. And I've given the links for that in surgery, the surgical e-logbook. In endoscopy, you have the JETS endoscopy logbook that you can log in. And then you go to your teaching experience, general interest, and references. Some people say do not bother about the references, but anybody that you want to put as your reference anytime at any stage of your job search, make sure it's someone that you've pre-asked and you've discussed these things with. If you are finding it challenging with references, do send me, an email, and we can see how we can support you. So here is the anatomy of a CV. Before we go to the next part, please do ask some questions so that we'll clarify this as we move on with the presentation. This is time for questioning. Okay, while everyone is thinking about the questions they want to ask, let me play some Christmas music. I don't have a DJ, but I'm a part-time DJ myself. Okay, where is the Spotify? Okay, let's see. I liked the Christmas song. Oh, of course, no problem. Prime Nature, just email me. I will give you the link and I'll tell you how to go about it, yeah? To get your consultants back home, to sign you up for the things you've done. No, you cannot use a family member as reference because of conflict of interest. Yeah, yes, you can use a character reference, yes. Now, oftentimes, a character reference is where if you are struggling with, so let's say you require two references, and for one reason or the other, you're struggling with getting both. So you can get one reference from someone you've worked with, and then you can get a character reference. In fact, me, if you are struggling, and if I've interacted with you, I have an idea of your character, I can give you a character reference. However, it's unlikely that any employer would accept, two character references if it was two references that is required. So that's it. So yes, you can use character references can be used. But as supplement, as complement, okay, any other thing we need to clarify? Ask, so because I know many people, they go through this reference situation, makes things difficult for them. So ask questions. We're here to support you. So as we are waiting for more questions, let me play some small etc. The Christmas music. Where is that one? Yeah. And sing with me. Hey. So, why? Let it go. Uh-huh. Hey. No. Beautiful. Merry Christmas. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me stop this music. Generally, yes. Yes, so I'm not bad with some, I cannot kill myself. So, yes, so the answer is yes. It's unlikely that most of the HR for most of the trust would require that, you know, you, most HRs, most trust, they will not likely release your COS until references is complete. So I think the mistake I've seen some people do is they don't take their references very serious. Yeah, you have to take references very serious. It's a very fairly strong. It has very strong, so I'm starting. It has very strong power, really. So yes, so COS. So someone said clinical gap. Yes, I think clinical gaps have very important connotation. What it's there is you need to have some reasons why the clinical gap was there. And my recommendation is you need to put the reason why it's there. So if you had the clinical gap because you were traveling or, a personal event in your life, or anything, it's very useful to put it there. Or if you have, a time where you were working in, for instance, a different area. Like myself, I spent about the first 2.5 years in the UK working in academia, teaching in medical schools and things, and like that. So that's key. Someone, Chidera, you joining? I'm totally lost. Yeah, so let's do a quick recap and then we'll move forward. Just for the people joining, yeah, share the video and let's go again. So I've said we started with the, except the dancing part actually, we started with an NHS CV, and I explained that a CV, it's like a story of your career. And therefore, it tells where you've been. And people say to me, but the thing, they track jobs. Track jobs, I've said, will not address all of the needs. There are trusts that recruit without CV. That's one. Without track jobs, outside track. There's a number of them. In fact, in the UK, about 10 to 15% of the trusts do not use track jobs. And track jobs is mostly an England thing. In Scotland, they have job train, for instance. Now, with that said, again, if you are going to be recruited through an agency, they would like to look at your CV first before they progress things further. And also, if someone is introducing you to another person, another consultant or head of department or anything, or, service managers, your CV is where they'd like to look at before they think whether there is something worth exploring. So yes, you need to keep a personal CV. What are the do's? The CV, like I said, is part of the selection process, and therefore you need to keep an updated CV. It would highlight the career you're pursuing. Keep a generic CV for the roles that you are chasing. But again, warn about the chameleon approach, where people just convert themselves to anything where the job. That's not how to do it. How to do it is you think about the areas you have competence or you're building competence already, and then you put your CVs in those areas, not just in any area. And that's the point we're making, yeah? And so keep your CVs 2 to 3 page. You know, it should provide topics for discussions. Like I've said, it should aim to meet the essential, yeah, as well as the desirable. That's key to the employment process. And in my experience, you should meet 100% of the essential and about 25% of the desirable, you know, in most cases. And avoid acronyms that nobody understands. So if you use an acronym, you need to explain it. Yes, so sorry, I had to put the phone back on charge, the internet, so that it doesn't go off. We talked about the anatomy of a CV, personal details, like I said, his name and things like that. People don't fuss about age necessarily, so I don't think you have to put it there. I know specific details like family, children, you may not necessarily have to put it there. It's optional. I recommend that you don't have to. Career plans is where you are heading to. Professional registration, of course, GMC and things, so that people know that you've met the minimum requirement. Professional qualifications is generally the Royal College qualifications of the colleges in Nigeria, for instance. That's what they are looking for. Education, like I said, are things postgraduate certificates, you know, at least 1 to 2 university semesters and above, not small courses. Those should fall under, you know, certificates. And please do not put PLAB as qualification. PLAB is as licensure examination. So you can put PLAB, if you may, as a different section in licensure examination, but it's not going to give you any extra point. Work history, I said, pair it with how it is in the UK, and I gave it an extensive explanation on the different, you know, the different grades in the UK and how it pairs with Nigeria. Yeah, you get. And if you, after this, you can always watch, you know, the video to get that. CPDs, research, audit, and QP project. Research is usually things like you do for part 2, something that's publishable in a reputable peer-reviewed journal. And then practical skills I've explained. I was going to give people the links to the ones that you can even use from, you know, back home. Presentations in local and international conferences, publication, teaching experience, general interest, references. Like I said, with references, discuss with the person. I talked about character reference. Yes, you can use it to complement after you've gotten at least one referee, but you can't use character reference entirely. So character reference you can get from anyone that can comment on your character. So we talked about questions, and then we played a little Christmas music. So I think after we've dealt with these, let's go on. If there's no further question, we would move to, and I talked about clinical gaps. Integrate that into, how do we integrate that into our CV, especially those people that JAPA and ended up as support worker. No, so the gap, so if you are currently working as a support worker, then it's fine. You put your role, the role that you are doing within your CV, which stays to the recruiter you are employed, why, and if you also have a reason, if you were sitting exams, state it in your CV. Yeah, if you were sitting, for instance, the MRCS or the MRChem, and it took you 2 years to pass all of the exams, and then you're using that for GMC registration, state that. If you were sitting the USMLE, of course, you know, you can use that for GMC registration, state that. If you were sitting the PLAB, state that. You know, if you had, you know, live events that needed you to have clinical gaps, state that. It just tells people that you're thinking about it, and it also gives them an idea the type of support that they can organize for you. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've dealt with a number of these issues. Now, these are some useful references, guys. So it's very useful. So if you go to the career team guide of the East Midlands, you'd see some useful resource. And if you go to the deanery, you would see some more useful resources as well. Now, the other big type of CV is the non-NHS CV. So before we go into this one, let's play Burna Boy's new song, Bondu by Bondu, so that once we give you this training, we want you to get employed and start getting money, Bondu by Bondu. Yeah? Okay, where is the music? Okay. Anyway, give me your opinion, what you think about the song. I don't know. I think his song is all right, but let me play it for you. I hope this is allowing you hear it, like Bondu by Bondu. All right, guys, you tell me. Yeah. Don't worry, I'll answer you very soon. Yes, so there are trusts that do not use track jobs. One of them is Coventry. NHS Coventry doesn't use track jobs. I'll give a list of those trusts. So just email me and we'll give you the list. So yes, now we're in the non-NHS part. And this information here, you would find also quite useful for, even your NHS CV. So there's, traditional standards of CV. There's the skills-based standard of CV. Now, guys, you need to listen carefully in the skills-based CV, because especially for people that have gaps, whatever role that you're doing, you might have been gaining skills that you can transfer to the NHS. So the skills-based CV, is very useful. And I know we have people here that want to go to the American side of things, or North America. I know we have a lot of our people that train here, especially in general practice. However, they like to call it family practice or family doctor practice. And they tend to go to Canada and, continue their career there after spending some time here. So, of course, understanding resume for North America is very useful. We also have people here There are a mix of both. So there are academics as well as clinicians. And one example is me. Then finally, we have people that are very research inclined, and narrative CVs are becoming more and more used in the research sphere. So stay with us so that we can guide you through this. And don't forget to share this to people so that they get the information. Now, I think we've talked about this. What is a CV? It's a concise summary, interest out in and out of work. Employers may initially spend a short time scanning your CV, perhaps a few seconds. Now, when you move outside NHS, there's the practice of the applicant tracking systems, which means, and I think they might be using it in some NHS trusts, where the AI or the machine or the software tracks the CV and screens the CV. Yeah, so that's something to be aware of. So the key advice here, you need to be concise. Remember the purpose, target your CV, be evidence-based, be clear, and you need to be focused so that your CV is relevant. And what you don't need to include, you need to use bullet points, and also consider applying context, which is the car mnemonic context, address things and results. Yeah. So context, what you're addressing, and results. So in terms of the traditional CV, there are many examples here. It would have something like that. The sections would be normally as followed: personal information, education, experience, additional skills, interest. Generic CVs are probably best delivered in the traditional way. Yeah. So that's how probably best to deliver generic CVs. Skills-based CVs, like I've said here, some of us in this group will find it very useful because you are looking at skills that you can transfer from one work history to another. Yeah. Now, this type, it highlights, like I said, transferable skills, and as such is used by people changing career direction or people coming from, some clinical gap. So resumes in North America have put the most relevant differences in terms of format and in terms of, there's a Wikipedia page on spelling differences and things like that. And we have links to help you. I'm going to put links in the chat to help you that you can use. So the first resource I'll put for you in the chat is the references, so that you can copy them and don't need to go through the stress of so that's the link there, right there, for the references you need. Yeah. So I put the link in the references section. So the other thing is, for CVs in North America, the main basic difference is you can find, this is some format differences that you want to, and then also go through the Wikipedia article so that you are familiar, if America is some place that you are likely to head to at some point, so that you are aware of their style. Yeah. Let's see, give you that link. Okay. Now, with that said, so that's that for North America. So in the American style, that's where when you send your CV, you send a cover letter. Yeah. So a few things to consider include a cover letter, except you're told otherwise. Write a considered and thoughtful thank you letter within 48 hours of any interview, and convert your resume and cover letter to PDFs before sending them to an employer. This is to prevent mix-up, and also protect your work. I talked about the narrative CV. It's very useful for those that are considering going to research. So the narrative CVs are becoming more common, and I'm going to give links to them. They are used a lot by the research bodies, and they give you a lot of points, what they expect you. Now I'm going to share, because everything we do on this channel, we don't charge you a dime for it. I'm going to share the links where you see examples of CVs, so that you know how to tailor your CV. You get me? So after this training, you don't need to struggle about CV anymore. So those are some of the best links, anywhere in the world for you to click on and use. So also I'm sharing the links for where you would find guidance for CVs, how it's done in America, Canada. And here I'm sharing those links as well for free. We give you everything free, bundle by bundle. Okay, so here we are. We've talked about the CVs, the resources that you need. So this comes to a conclusion on at least the basics of CVs. This is a follow-up to our training of the Mastering the NHS Job Search. I've put up content. If you've not seen it, go to the channel. The contents are free. I think I would allow the last set of questions as we round up this training. So please, yes, ask all of the questions you need, and then I would address them before we round up. You're welcome, Hussein. Thanks that you found the training helpful. All right, guys, questions, share the training to those and invite them. Tell them that we're giving them this support, free of charge. You get me? And so engage. Again, if you want to be invited on stage, let me know. You think you have something that will be very, that you think a lot of people will benefit. Just type in the chat section. I can bring you on stage, and then we can have a little chat before we round up. Guys, do not sleep. The Bible says, or whichever book you believe in, people perish for lack of knowledge. So it's important that you ask questions, clarify things, so that you have the information that you need to get the outcome that you want. So ask questions. and get the information that you need. Okay, I think we'll play the last music as we're rounding up. If you have a question, yes. So I think, let me see, I think I'll play something from Wizkid's new album. What's that his song now? All right. Let's see, I think I know the song. I would have to have a look, Hussein, about that for you, and do email me. Let's see. Don't worry. Mm-hmm. The bedroom. Mhm. Pray for me. Yeah, the private sectors, yes, they recruit as well. They pay slightly better. So the number of private sectors recruitment, we probably can do a session on them. Would see, but the private sectors like HCA is one of the big ones. One Welbeck, One Welbeck is also another one. So there's a number of private sector recruitment. Yes, some people have started their careers with the private sector. Yes, it's oftentimes my recommendation is yes, if you have a lot of skills and experience already, yes, you can start your career with the private sector. Private sector pays a bit more in the UK compared to the public sector. So that's that. So yes, I've shared the skills-based CV, especially for those that have, clinical gaps. They will find that useful in terms of the recruitment drive. Do not forget, share the channel with your friends. Let your friends share it amongst yourself, share it in your WhatsApp group. Encourage people to join. Let's get more people in. That way, we are able to invite more speakers with direct experience, consultants, registrars, people that have had the experience. We can also invite people from the recruitment side of things, hospitals, for instance. But the more we have, the numbers, the easier it is for me to make the case, for instance, with someone from HCA or One Welbeck to even come in here and interact with you guys, or get someone from BDI Resources, Medax, or Patems to come here and, have an interaction with you guys. So share what we're doing. We're here to support you for free. So I think we will play the last music, and I think this would officially mark the end of today's session. We'll probably do something in the new year. But thank you, everyone. And then don't forget, the whole of today's session is available on my YouTube channel for free. So even if you've missed something, do not worry, because it's there for you to go back and rewatch and share with your friends. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And yes. All right, guys. Thanks. But you can still ask questions while the music is playing. I'll answer you. Mm-hmm. London Bridge. That's me. Hey, no. Hey, hey. I go. Get out for more. We move there more. City boy. So that be city boy. They give me joy. Lamborghini boy. All right, guys. One final thing is come to my head. If you registered with the GMC, you are based in the UK, and you're interested in medical surveys, please do email me with the title medical surveys so that I can introduce you, or you can ask on the Smash Your NHS interview channel. There's opportunity to make money on the medical surveys. Just while we were here, let me dispel any. So I'll stop this slide. Let me just prove to us that this medical survey thing is for real. Yeah. So let's do that. So I'm going to share my screen so that we know that the medical surveys are for real. It's good, it's not a lot of like bread, but there's enough. There's something, it's worth it. So stay tuned while I introduce you. I've been looking to introduce that for a while. So let's get into it. So fine, I believe you can see my screen. If you can, you let me know. So the very first one I like to introduce people is something called Opinion Site, and I'm showing you my personal login on this. Yeah, can everyone see my screen? Just confirm if you can see my screen. Yeah, I believe you can. So you log in. Opinion Site pays quite well in terms of medical surveys. And as you can see, I joined about 6 months ago and I've made £834 and I've still got a balance here. And these are the surveys that I've answered. Yeah, and Opinion Site is two. So you have In Crowd, yeah, and Opinion Site. So that's one. Okay, can we all see the screen now? The survey side of things. There's only one person that can see. What's happening? So let me know if it's any better now. Can you see the screen? No, but I believe it's sharing. Now, opinion site. Yeah, so some people say they keep saying it could be your setting. Omotai Hussein, what is it that you can see? So if you read what you can see for me, those that can see, so I know what it is, but it shouldn't be like a challenge. Yes, for those that can see, tell me what it is you can see. There's something that where it says reward aimed. Tell me what number you can see there. Okay. Yep. I see. I think, okay, I think I know where the problem is. Everyone should be able to see my screen now. Good. So the one of the main sites, like I said, that I'm super interested in, here in, yes, good. So the very first site is opinion site. I think they are one of the most well-managed medical surveys that I encourage people to do. I was encouraged to join. Now that is my account. I'm going to log in. You would see that's me logging in. And if you look at there, that's my email. Now, when I log in, I want you guys to write for yourself what you can see in terms of reward end. Yeah, so anyone that can see, write what you can see in terms of reward end. And I joined about 6 months ago. Yes, guys, write what you can see in terms of reward end.
Let me give you a counsel. Never lie to a woman.
Good. So good. So yeah, so it's one of the ones that I think it's worth your while. It's fair enough. It's not um you know like the end of like the whole world. So the other one I would introduce you guys to is something called M3. So fine, we're going to stop sharing that unless let me introduce you guys to M3. I think M3 is also a good one. So now that is the M3 one I'm introducing to you guys. So that's M3. So let me go back. Yeah, so that's me there. So I'm going to sign out. Yes, so I'm going to now sign in, log in, or sign in, all is the same. What's happening to the internet? Let's see. Good. So that's that you can see here on the M3. So it has various surveys and different types. So I'm just going to go to my wallet. So currently I do not have money, but these are the various payments that I've received so far. I mean, some of them are duplicates, so just be careful, but watch, try and read. Tell me the numbers that you can see in terms of payment there. So let me make the screen big. Yeah. So guys, look at and type in the comment sections what you can see. Again, I joined about 6 months ago. Not a lot, but of course, better than £1 is better than no pound. Yeah, so type in the comment sections what you can see. Okay. All right, I just gave you guys some time. Yeah. Yeah, so good. So they are paying out. So that's the moral of the story. So the next one I would introduce to you guys is another one called SEMO. You guys, some of you might have joined it, but again, it is also a very good passive income. So SEMO, I'm just starting out. Good. Again, I believe you can see on SEMO what I've not done much. So there's a lot of the opportunity. So if this is something that you're interested in, email me if you've not. I'm going to just, use my referral link and introduce you, which should make it a bit slightly easier for you to get the verification process to start earning easier. Like I said, £0 is better than no pound. I think we've talked a lot. So also email me, put in the chat, on the videos, what you think you would like us to address in the coming, live. And also don't forget, invite your friends, tell your friends to invite their friends. We're here so we can create a community that supports people. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've had a very fruitful session today. As we bring this stream to an end, I'd like to thank everyone for attending. If you have any song you'd like me to play, you can request it. And I'm going to be more than happy to play for you. In the meanwhile, let me play something from Central C. Thanks, guys.
So I jumped on a private jet and I'm asking a pilot the ETA. Lambo parked and I landed, strip everyone in my gang and my DJ paid. Why is my man talking about inshallah? These guys they don't even pray. Why is my man wearing a Jesus?